Hello, beautiful soul. This is Elena the Greek, and this is a transmission about angelic energies, angelic codes, things we have been receiving energetically when it comes to angelic energies. And of course, it is connected with star seeds and light workers. So please pay attention, because I'm pretty sure you have been going or undergoing a transition that has to do with angelic upgrades you have been receiving. Please be aware that this is a transition that can come up to a level and then pause for other transitions to take place and for the right frequencies to be integrated into your system before you move on to expanding this transition and completing it when it comes to angelic codes and energies. At least that's what I have understood the last few years. We started evolving and upgrading through angelic DNA, and then there was some kind of pause for the dragon aspect of us to be integrated in a huge way and evolve as it was needed. And what has started again happening the last few months, meaning 3-4 months approximately, is more angelic DNA activations in our light bodies, in a way that we are awakening more and deeper into this kind of energy within us. Now, what you may have been experiencing with this. First of all, feeling and coming into contact with angelic forms and angelic beings more than ever before, integrating soul aspects of yours with an angelic form or shape from other lifetimes. And before, you may felt, no, I'm not gonna be doing this, I'm not gonna be dealing with angelic energies, or even I don't want to be working with archangels, or you felt some sort of disconnection in that level, or it feels too fake as a frequency, too high, or in a way that I can't be using it in my healing modalities, I can't be using this kind of energy in my channelings, it doesn't resonate with me. Some kind of repulsion, I could say, but in a different way than with other things. So what has changed lately is a huge upgrade that is taking place for many of us. And mind you that we are not all, every one of us, at the same pace or the same expansion or the same path even, because we have to integrate different things individually in a way that we integrate also in a different pace, in a different way, these angelic upgrades and DNA activations that take place lately. So have in the back of your mind that you may have felt in and out of that upgrade, things have been changing massively in other ways in your life, your attention may have been redirected in something different that has to do more with human stuff, with everyday stuff, physical life or physical health, that you may felt that, okay, there's nothing going on with that angelic DNA activations that take place now, or redirected for other reasons that left you kind of lingering to the thought of what is going on, or has this happened for me, or am I going to go through this upgrade and activation. And what is coming through is that we are all receiving these activations and expansions within ourselves when it comes to angelic DNA activations, but it will be happening at a different pace for different reasons, where we embrace more aspects of ourselves. So go with it, and depending on how it feels right to you. Remember, I have a video posted about intuitive lifestyle. This is what we are doing. We are moving on in an intuitive way more than ever before, of living our lives, of leading our lives, and so on and so forth. So what is coming through about these angelic DNA activations that some of us have already undergone? There is a huge stage of fear and anger, or one of both of these emotions, the frequency that we also experience with angelic DNA activations feels like spiritual arrogance from our human perspective. And I want to expand on this because spiritual arrogance can come in many ways, shapes, and forms. But what feels more when comes more right when it comes to these angelic DNA activations is that what we are undergoing through the spiritual arrogance of how this is perceived as spiritual arrogance is coming from a space of confidence, but also in a way that we see things a bit differently because we perceive the human condition differently through these angelic DNA activations. We perceive that the human suffering is of no purpose. We perceive that this kind of things that we are doing to each other or we are doing to ourselves comes from a space that is very low in vibration. And I don't want to say that we feel smarter than others. On the contrary, to me it felt more like a deep sadness and agitation of why on earth are we doing mean things to each other? Why are we still vibrating so low in a way that feels we could do better, and we know we can do better, and we could have done better already? So this is the kind of spiritual arrogance that comes through with the angelic DNA activations that are taking place. And of course, after that stage of feeling differently about human emotions, about suffering, about pain and human pain, we come into a space of exploring ourselves through fear, so we can set off all the layers when it comes to fear that are associated with fear, that are associated in a way that create the sense of fear within us, which is an illusion, yes, but there are also fears that we have and phobias when it comes to the physical life, and all of these need to be integrated within us in a different sense, in a different way than ever before. We are here to integrate these aspects of us that hold on to fears and phobias. Either they are illusions or not, either we have to just experience them to see that it was nothing major and there was nothing to be afraid of, in other words. And apart from everything else, these angelic DNA activations are taking place now for a while, and they will continue taking place. So be aware that when we integrate DNA alterations in our light body, it's never easy or one time off. We will have different stages, different kind of integrations. Some will take a bit longer when it comes to physical time. Other integrations will take nothing at all as of time, and the frequency will feel very familiar to our own existing frequency in our light bodies. So mind you that yes, it comes with ups and downs as with every transition, every transformation that takes place, but it's extremely beautiful to experience all of these changes because we integrate more of ourselves in every aspect of that. And of course, these alterations in our light bodies have a lot to do with the third eye perception, absolutely yes, and how we view the human suffering, how we view ourselves, how we can deeply connect in self-love frequencies and unconditional love frequencies, how we can apply those in everyday life, in every choice in our lives, which brings us closer to the 5D, the fifth dimension, and as well with the crown chakra, of course, because the crown chakra is shifting frequencies in so many ways that we will have a huge expansion that has already started happening in many ways and will continue the next year, and we will be receiving a lot more. So if you felt a bit stagnant or still in some ways in your growth, know that this is because there is a recalibration that is taking place in your light body, in your energy, and as usually this comes with extra rest, with extra time off, extra meditation, however it feels intuitively right to you, and as usually with grounding. So keep it simple, keep it in a way that feels right to you, and don't look back in many ways, only for reflection, for integrating those aspects of yours. And let me create an image for you now, because I keep seeing that as a way of explaining what integration actually looks like. There are many that are asking me, integrate how? What is that? So, have you watched videos on TikTok of how people place a piece of cloth on themselves and finally they have changed? Like, I'm pushing a blouse, a t-shirt on myself, on my chest, and that shirt becomes the shirt I'm wearing. This is exactly what integration is. And if you haven't watched these videos on TikTok, please go and watch them. They are quite the sight. Anyways, moving on from that, integration is exactly that. I'm taking something that I have perceived emotionally or mentally, two different parts of the auric body, and I unite that within myself. I wear it, literally. I wear it, so I release the conflicts. I unite and bring in union the conflict that used to be there and create some kind of alignment within myself of, yes, my perception received that emotionally or mentally, so now I bring it to my whole being and I ground it within myself as if I'm wearing it from inside, and I am that energy, that belief I perceived, that thing I perceived in one way or another within myself. That is what integration is. I'm taking it and I'm making it part of me, in other words. And I hope this helped understand what we are experiencing lately, and it will continue happening the next few months. It's not done, it's not over yet. It's like we are taking a breath, we're catching our breaths in some ways, in order for the integration to take place as much as possible in the fullest ways that it is possible in our own being. And as with every integration, a new upgrade, a new download, this is not just a download, this is a light body activation on higher frequencies. And of course, in between, we have to set off the layers that are not in alignment with that upgrade. So this is the kind of pause we are going through, the first waivers that have gone through that transmutation and transition. And of course, we will keep receiving these upgrades and changes and shifts in our energies in many ways, because even if we have received at least once angelic DNA codes, we keep receiving them and there is some kind of evolution that takes place. No, we are not exactly hybrids. That comes from one of my guides that I have to share. If you have any thoughts like this, we are evolving in a way we haven't evolved before as a humankind, as starseeds wearing a human body in many ways, but we will definitely be integrating a lot of aspects of us, regardless of the life form that this aspect has existed, because we are coming into a new era of wholeness, of completion in every aspect of us. And I keep saying aspect, which means angelic aspect, dragon aspect, human aspect, and of course everything that comes with all these three forms we are combining and uniting in one light body. And be aware that these shifts will be having implications of how you view and perceive energy, and by that I mean your perception will be shifting so much, and things you were viewing from one perspective or two perspectives or even three perspectives, you will have a higher perspective of life from now on. Don't be afraid of that. Don't judge yourself that you have spiritual arrogance and a block in your crown chakra. On the contrary, this is exactly what these changes have as part of our growth, because we need to be detaching from the human suffering that we were healing from and we were releasing from a lot of emotions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of beliefs of how we hold ourselves and others around us. It is gonna be a safe space to be, know that. And it is needed in many ways, because some people are losing themselves in those cycles of repetition about the human suffering or what we went through. Yes, we have gone through a lot. It is time for us to move on from that victimhood in many ways, and this is what is also helpful with angelic DNA activations that are taking place now. Feel free to leave me a comment of how you may have experiencing this kind of transition and how you are transmuting these layers of emotions and feelings you are experiencing through this path. If it answers any questions you've already had. Someone from my guides keeps persisting on me sharing about food, nutrition, about water. Keep it to the level and the way it feels right to you. If you feel more in alignment with vegetables, with light food, not cooked in any way, salads, that is something that is coming up for me a lot. I keep eating salads and I keep playing with different combinations for a salad instead of lunch, okay, or something else. Please keep it as light as possible, as long as it is in alignment with you. There is no restriction of how you want to feed yourself. There is no restriction of how you want to water yourself. This is not my usual way of speaking. Forget about the to-dos or what is appropriate and what isn't appropriate, because we keep sharing in these communities, spiritual communities, a lot of things that are generally very helpful, absolutely yes, but still do nothing that restricts you. It's not that you have to have a specific plan for sleeping, for eating, a specific this, that, or that. These are very restrictive, especially when you are in a space of transitioning to something else, to a different version of yourself. So forget the rules that you have created for yourself and be in the free, intuitive lifestyle, because that will help the transition happen as smooth as possible and with grace. If you keep restricting yourself, I have to do this or I should be doing that, all you are creating is more resistance, more difficulties, and the transition becomes harder, the integration becomes harder. Be in the flow of what feels right to you intuitively. Forget about the must. I must do this and I must do that. There's nothing like that when it comes to our own evolution and the shifts we are undergoing. Be in the space of allowance. Create the vortex of allowance for yourself and be in that space, because that will help you in a great way. That said, I would appreciate your comments and participation. I always look at your comments. Please feel free to comment. And if you want to connect more with me on a private session, please make sure you check out my website. I have links in the description box below. And I would love to connect with you. As always, be true to yourself and be your true self. And please remember that everything is energy.